My favorite mad scientists are back. Sony Liv's flagship achievement Rocket Boys returns for a second season. Writer-director Abhay Panu's gentle, warm hug masquerading as a history lesson follows the decade-spanning true story of two brilliant minds, two friends, Dr. Homi Bhabha played by a charisma on crack Jim Sarbh, and Dr. Vikram Sarabhai played by a soft, soothing Ishwak Singh, and the role they played in shaping independent India. The immensely well-crafted first season propelled Rocket Boys to join the ranks of India's finest streaming shows. Among its many triumphs, the reason this series remains so special to me is because of how it soaked history in humanity. Grand defining scientific achievements and geopolitical milestones came secondary to a sensitive, achingly empathetic human story about friendship, frailty, and vulnerability. I just felt these people. This second season begins with many seconds. Picking up shortly after the events of last time, Vikram Sarabhai is trying to launch his second rocket into space to further the Indian space program, while Homi Bhabha is trying to build India's second nuclear reactor to further the nuclear program and work towards making India energy independent. It was just so wonderful to be back in this world and around these people again. Here we get the same gentle storytelling, the unskippable opening credit sequence, the rich detailing, those thoughtful, deeply felt performances, all beautifully captured by Harshir Oberoi's cinematography and uplifted by Achin Thakkar's affecting, show-making score. And yet, I didn't feel this season quite like I did last time. Season 1 gave us a delicate balance between the grand political scientific breakthrough, big, and the intimate personal, small. But here that balance is tipped towards well-crafted recreation of landmark past events alone. And in an attempt to jump to the next major seminal incident, we get far fewer of those quintessentially heart-stealing Rocket Boys moments. History here takes precedence over humanity, plot over people. This time, we're made to follow the facts rather than feel them. Perhaps it's because there was a lot of key historical ground to cover this time around, and the priority was authenticity over emotion. Or perhaps it's because experiencing a rich new world for the first time is always going to be more meaningful than merely returning to it. But Rocket Boys isn't a show I associate with bingeable suspense or cliffhangers, but much of this season plays out more like a thriller. The increasing tensions with the US and shady interference of the CIA, the death of Nehru, the mysterious death of his successor Lal Bahadur Shastri, the rise of Indira Gandhi, the alleged assassination of Homi, the race against time to conduct the covert Pokhran nuclear test in 1974 and beyond. What's more, last season gave us a sense of a narrative that was constantly evolving through all the ground and life it captured, with Homi and Vikram's origin story, their brotherhood, relationships, and accomplishments. But here there's a sense of narrative stagnancy. Certain plot points and ideas seem to go in circles. For example, a major arc follows Homi's assassination at the hands of the CIA. So we get traitors and CIA puppets Vishwesh Mathur played by K.C. Shankar and journalist Prosenjit Dey played by Namit Das constantly spying, plotting and planning against Homi for 5 long episodes. But this villain arc of the series feels repetitive. How much are we to watch two dudes whisper and plot behind closed doors when we know the outcome? As a result, too often I started to see through the show's design and past its shiny veneer, like the various attempts to cleverly mask exposition, for example. In one impressively staged long-take sequence, we see a tipsy Homi explain his plans for a second nuclear plant to Mathur. Homi explains it to him in English, which Mathur then repeats back to him word for word in Hindi, in a clear attempt to thoroughly convey the dense sciencey stuff to us. Similarly, at points my mind couldn't help but latch onto and fixate on other details which I wish it didn't, like certain stretches of sketchy prosthetics, where Indira Gandhi's nose and Vikram Sarabhai's ears look odd. Don't get me wrong, Rocket Boy still remains the achievement it was with the same wonderfully cinematic storytelling. And in time, it becomes clear that this season wasn't to be about Homi and Vikram as people, but about what they did, their nation-defining contribution and their lasting legacy. And through it all, we do get a handful of touching moments. Pretty much any scene with my favorite character, Pipsy, played by a charming Sabah Azad, for example. Like that heart-crushing look on Homi's face when he sees Pipsy get the worst news of her life. Or the final phone call the two share, just before Homi's death. We also feel it in the quiet grace of Regina Cassandra as Mrinalini Sarabhai, and the sheer unwavering earnestness of Arjun Radhakrishnan as Abdul Kalam. After a point, the second chapter of Rocket Boy sent me down an existential spiral of trying to understand what exactly it is a second season of a series like this can or should be. Particularly because I still think season 1 ended conclusively and works as a formidable standalone story, and I didn't see the need to return for more, and to some degree, I still don't. Season 2 doesn't deepen or broaden or amplify the show's impressive achievement or canvas. It merely resumes its story to give us a fitting end to the lives and legacy of two defining figures. And I could argue that without the same beating heart, we could have gotten that from a documentary or book. I think how I felt about this season is best captured by something Homie says at the end of the second episode. While waiting for his flight at the airport and reading a book about Napoleon, a stranger next to him says, "You know Napoleon dies at the end, right?" To which Homie calmly replies, "I'm not reading the book for his death. I'm reading the book for his life." To me, the soul of Rocket Boys was never merely about what these two men did or how their story ended, but who they were. You can watch Rocket Boys Season 2 on Sony Live.